Who are we as an idea industry? Who are we? I think that especially the strategic side of the idea industry has to be able to come to terms with some of this, how they live in the world and what they offer. Climate change and climate science are huge, amorphous topics. As we look at this, I think we have intergenerational issues. We have to work now for your grandchildren in order for them to be safe and happy. That's a hard thing to understand and a hard thing to wrap our sense of who we are and why we're doing anything around, right? I think we have to make it useful, and that's whether we're talking about it from a journalistic sense, from a strategic sense, from an idea that a brand might offer the world something. There are brilliant people in the idea industry, and I want them to use that brilliance to solve these problems. That's an ethical stance, by the way. Problem solving is an ethical stance that says, I live in this world and I want to do something better for it.
When you're talking about climate change, you have to think about how this is going to influence the rest of the world. And you have to think about ethics. You're like required to engage in that topic. I think climate change is something that you can't just put towards one crowd like it's for everyone.
It will take your generation of millennials who cared deeply about this, and that talent set, if we are to use them wisely, we're going to have to give them things of relevance to work on and to be a part of.
I think when I work on specific projects, I do like to think about the environment which they're coming from. With something like working in Alaska, I was definitely trying to work with the natural colors of the landscape, the natural animals, all the native species.
In terms of ethics, it will take people who care deeply about issues and problems to be able to solve problems for people. More, it's about how do we give that useful information? Sometimes it can be through the lens of a brand. It can be through the careful work of how that brand lives and works in the world and how it adds value. I think there are ways to do that. There are also ways to take on climate as an issue together. I don't know if it's about saying climate deniers, you're wrong. I think it's about giving strong, useful information to the world in a way that multiple audiences can understand the science. I think if we have that as our goal, it becomes less skewed with politics and with he said, she said moments. It's more about the aspirational, what do we leave here? How do we do this well? How do we work together to make something happen? For example, our Alaska project that so many of us were involved in, I think that's a good proof moment. That's a good place to give evidence of here's what we see. By connecting it with our topics of science and memory, I think that's how people learn. They listen to the data of science when it is translatable and useful, and they understand the moments of memory and the pieces of this is how it was and this is how it is now. So by bringing those together, even our project does something. And I think really the way to give useful information is to make compelling content that is honest and transparent and useful.